Hello, I warmly welcome you to Euractiv Poland's program. My name is Karolina Zbytniewska and I have the pleasure of speaking with Niels Fuglsang, Member of the European Parliament from Denmark and a Social Democrat. Hello, great to have you.
Thank you.
Denmark currently holds the Council Presidency straight after Poland. What are your key priorities for Europe?
So I would say we have two key priorities. One is security. We're now seeing that, we've seen for years, unfortunately, a threat from Russia, war from Russia and Ukraine. I know that's something Poland is very concerned about too, and you're spending a lot of money and effort in supporting Ukraine and also receiving Ukrainian refugees. And today's awful events where there seems to be an aggression from Russia in Poland underlines the seriousness of this. So security is the first priority. The second priority is competitiveness. And we believe that we need to have a policy where we really stick to our our climate pledges and our climate commitments, because it will also increase our competitiveness. We need cheaper energy, and renewable energy is cheaper than fossil fuels that we import from Russia, for example. And we also need to develop our green tech sector so that we develop products that we can export. So security and competitiveness, that's our main priorities.
Mm-hmm. And on that second note I would like to ask you about the potential climate target for the European Union for 2040. You are co-leading negotiations on the side of the European Parliament. So could you tell us more about this target and where we are as regards it?
So the European Commission has proposed a 90% target that we have to reduce greenhouse gases by at least 90% in 2040. And I think that's...
But is it a done deal where we are as regards this target?
Right. So it's not a done deal. There are groups that want to decrease the target. They think that 90% is too high. Myself, I think that we should be at least at 90%, because if you listen to the scientific climate advisors to the European Commission, they say 90 to 95% if we are to live up to the Paris Agreement. So that's what we're negotiating right now. I know that some groups, for example, the Polish delegation, some of the Polish delegations, they think that it's a little bit high, the climate targets. I hope to be able...
You are using a lot of soft words, like they are thinking that it's a little too high,
yeah.
But I think that we are more concerned than a little.
Yeah, okay. But and that's part of the discussions that we're having. I think that I agree with Poland that we need to become independent of Russia, for example. I know that that's grave concern in Poland. It is in Denmark, where I come from as well. And I think one instrument to get rid of dependency on Russia is to get rid of the energy, the gas imports that we have from Russia. How do we do that? I think we need more renewable energy. I think that's obvious, and I think that would be both in Denmark's and Poland's and the European Union's interest. And so we need a high climate target to keep the investments in the renewable energy also. And I think that will be good for our economy, because we invest in our own economy rather than sending all the money to Mr. Putin so he can spend them on his war.
Still, Ursula von der Leyen didn't mention this climate target in her State of the Union address. Should we treat it as a meaningful sign or not?
I don't think so. I mean, the Commission has proposed 90%, so that's their proposal. I think it's a good proposal. I think we could go even higher, but I know, that's why I say that, for example, Poland, they think it's too high, so I know we have to find a compromise. I would say that I think we should go around the 90%. I don't think the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, she mentioned that we need to stick to our climate commitments. We need to carry on with the green transition. She mentioned energy, that we need to get rid of Russian fossil fuels. And she mentioned also...
But we are not so much dependent on it anymore. But we in Poland, for example, and several other countries are quite fossil fuel dependent countries, like traditionally. And some politicians especially treat it as kind of our national gold. So it's the talk is not just about prices and about competitiveness. It's about our national nature.
Right, but I would say, we still get around a little bit more than 10% of our gas in Europe from Russia. We pay that guy, Mr. Putin, billions of euros. He spent some on the war. So I know that Poland has other ways of getting natural gas. But the fact is that if you look at Europe as such, we don't have the natural gas. Some countries might, but as a whole European Union, we don't have the natural gas. So we'll have to, if that's the way we're going, we have to import it from other countries. So I'm saying, why not get our own energy? We can build our own wind turbines. Poland is, by the way, also building a lot of wind turbines. We're doing projects together, Denmark and Poland. And we would become independent. That is impossible if we keep on using gas, because we don't have it in Europe in the volumes that we need.
Okay, I mentioned the fossil fuels as kind of, especially coal, as kind of like the gold for the Polishness. But many people in Poland are skeptical also as regards the prices, the energy prices, which translate in general cost of living. And the thing is that in order to implement the energy transition in such a country like Poland, it costs a lot of investment that taxpayers will have to kind of cover for. So how to talk with people who have real concerns about things that really affects them? What are the arguments? Because there are some countries that can afford it more easily, that are also further on this road towards transition. Some countries are in a totally different climate, like economic climate and political climate.
So my arguments would be that, number one, all experts, the International Energy Agency and other reports on this, say that renewable energy is cheaper than fossil fuels, gas, coal, oil. So it's not a bad investment. It will not lead to higher energy prices, it will lead to lower energy prices. Of course, you need to make some upfront investments, but isn't it better to make those investments in your own country, in Poland, in Denmark, in Europe, rather than paying all those billions that we as Europeans are paying to Putin, sending the money out of Europe? I think it would be better to invest in our economy and create jobs at the same time. Then I think that the European Union needs to support Poland and other countries in this effort. We need to spend our budget in a better way to actually support some of these projects, these renewable energy projects. And I think that's what also Ursula von der Leyen is proposing in the new budget. So I think it's a myth that it will lead to higher energy prices, to increased expenses for the Polish. I think it will mean the opposite. That
Do you
we will
study
have
economy?
I wrote a PhD on economic models.
Yeah, because investments cost money, and
Right.
if the investments are huge, the price is huge, and who pays for public investments? Taxpayers and the people. So that's the thing, and the projects that Ursula von der Leyen is mentioning are about, as you said, supporting the projects. But what about the support for the people, for the citizens?
But I think that the Polish and the Danish and the Europeans, they pay every month, they pay an energy bill. And
Yes.
I would say that can be a high energy
It
bill,
is.
or it can be
It's very high.
It is right now. That's not because of renewable energy. On the contrary, it's because we have too much fossil energy, because we know, you can just look at the prices. You can produce renewable energy at a lower cost than what you pay for fossil fuels. So I think it's a myth that you have to pay a lot of money. It's true what you're saying, that you need to make investments, of course, but those are exactly what you call them, investments in your future. You pay some money for these investments, but it will pay off if you look a little bit into the future. And I think we agree, I think I would agree with the majority of the Polish people, if I understand them correctly, that we don't want to support Putin's war. We don't want to send our money outside our country to other dictators that want to use them in a horrible way. So we want to spend our money in our own economy, also creating jobs, by the way, for our own people.
Okay. Thank you so much for this fascinating conversation.
Thank you.